stuff. But here we go. All right, friends, I want to know what your biggest worry is when you sit down to paint. I know what some of mine are, and I think I know what some of yours are based on what you've told me over the years. So here's the thing. You sit down to paint and you immediately start thinking things like, I can't do this. Who do I think I am? I bet I'm going to waste this good paper. Like, is any of this sounding familiar? I bet it is. I bet it is. I bet it is. And the one I want to focus on today is, who do I think I am? And I have a little bit of a story to tell. And we are going to paint together today, friends. If you are on Team Replay and you're watching this, let us know, head into comments and say, hey, I'm here and looking forward to it. But we're going to be painting with some not so traditional materials. Yes. Yes. I see in comments. Yes, definitely. Don't want to waste my paper. Glad you're doing this, Kathy says. Yeah, so today we're going to be painting with some non-traditional and or just plain old, not the best quality, right? Because I feel like I have something to prove, and this is absolutely not a result of my ego. This is a result of a comment that I received recently, and I'm going to go ahead and pop that up on the screen. And I just want to say that this beautiful soul, this is not a dig. I actually felt such creative desperation to address this comment that, of course, I responded personally, directly here, as you can see. And then I took this to the community tab here on YouTube, and I waxed poetic for a moment. And the thing is, I was just slightly sad and terrified for this soul. And here's why. Because she was inspired. You could tell, right? You can read this comment and say she was making a joke out of the fact that she didn't have good supplies like I did. And that she's totally inspired, but she's just going to wait until she's got the better brush. And presumably the better paper and all the better things, right? Whatever that is. And in my heart, I immediately was panicked for her. Because here's the thing. There's always going to be a reason to wait. There's always going to be a reason to let that moment, and we all know that fleeting moment of inspiration that comes. And it may come daily where you're like, oh, squirrel, I want to paint. But it can go as quick as it comes. Am I right? Give me an amen. It's just a word like, give me an amen. Am I taking you to church with that one? Seriously, because those moments of creativity, I'm reading right now, Big Magic, which if you follow me on Instagram, I had a whole thing about it on Instagram. I thought I read this book. I don't think I did read the book. And I'm okay with it because I am having an absolute love affair with this book right now. Elizabeth Gilbert talks about this idea that creative moments, the creative ideas that we have. And in this context, let's just say that creative spark that you have that propels you to want to sit down, get your paint, get your water, and actually start to make something, that those moments aren't guaranteed, that those moments aren't long lasting, and that those moments actually have a soul. And they will just flit off if they're ignored. And they'll go to somebody else, essentially. Whether you think that's a metaphor that she's using to describe the creative experience, or you actually think that, you know, these ideas are actually personified, it doesn't matter. Because it's true either way, metaphor or not. Our creative moments, our creative inspiration flies away if we don't use it, right? So back to this comment, I did not want that creative spark, that excitement that this viewer was experiencing to fly away simply because she deemed her supplies not worthy of making art. Now, let's talk about expectation, because this is important. Expectation is incredibly important in this conversation. Let me tell you why. Well, there's just a, oh, hi. Hi, camera. Hi, just going to fall over. Super dupes. Expectation is a killer of creativity. Because maybe her supplies indeed weren't the best choice for the project at hand, right? Maybe. But they were okay for something else. So we have to let that expectation float under our creative moments, right? We've got to let, not above. The expectation can't govern everything. It can't, or it's going to ruin the good stuff. The expectation's got to float under. Okay, so I'm going to keep waxing poetic, but at the same time, y'all, I'm going to paint. All right. I see Laura say, sing it, girl, carpe diem. Yes. Hello from St. Pete, Florida. Yes. Hello. After 40 art, I've been practicing on printer paper with gouache. Hey, you're doing it. Love it. Yes. Printer paper with gouache. For the love. Melissa says, I've got my cheap Canson, Michael's 56 paints, and fabulous brushes that I got on Amazon. Great. 8 brushes, $12, ready to go. Let's be cheap. Absolutely. Because these moments of inspiration are so fleeting. We have to grab onto them. Just like I'm going to grab onto my spray bottle right now. You like that transition? And I'm going to spray down my Crayolas. I cannot tell you. I don't know how old these are. These are old. These are olds. But I don't care. All right. Now to start, I am painting on Meeden, 100% cotton. Whatever. I'm going to transition to some really junky paper. But we're just going to start somewhere. I got to tell you what, though. Just because your supplies aren't ideal doesn't mean your inspiration has to be lackluster. I've got a fresh peony from my garden. Let's see what happens. Let's see what happens, friends. I'm going to go ahead and make this full screen for you. If I could get my mouse to work, it would be a miracle. Oh, it's all the way over there. Great. Cool. Coolio. Okay, here we are. All right. Now, expectation, the killer of the fleeting inspirational moment. So I wanna reflect on that a little bit more. If you go into a painting experience with the Crayolas, with the brush that maybe doesn't come to a good point, like literally this is a 5 Below brush. It's actually not a bad brush. But I know you all have the brushes that don't come to a good point. They're just not made for what they're meant to do. If you go into a painting experience with those supplies and the expectation that you're going to be able to create a replica of something you've seen in a painting tutorial, you know what's going to happen. But we try it anyway, and we get mad at ourselves, and then we quit. Now, I've sprayed the paper down first. Whenever you're using less than ideal supplies, you always got to give yourself a little help, right? And I don't know, I'm dipping the stick in here. Now, someone in the comments, when I posted about this conversation, someone in the comments said, but we're not all as passionate to paint with a stick, Christy. And again, no hate to that comment. But my question back is, why not? Why not? Why is it paint with, Daniel Smith or bust? Why is it paint with a sable, number 6, perfectly come to a perfect point or bust? Why is that the only scenario that inspires you? That is the question I want to ask yourself. If you're not passionate to paint with a stick, why? Is it because you're worried what someone will think? I'm going to probably go ahead and say yes. All right. So I sketched with the stick. I'm going to take this less than ideal fan brush, and I'm just gonna then, now remember my paper's damp, so I'm gonna just start getting some water, more water on that page, and start getting some of these sketchy moments to release, right? I want a little bit of purple in this reddish color. Well, I've got purple in the Crayola. That's a little too much purple, but friends, I think you see my point here. Why? Grab that stick and then ask yourself the hard questions. If you're not motivated to paint with found supplies, what are you painting for? It sounds to me like maybe you're painting for someone else. And trust me, y'all, I get that. I get that. I'm a content creator for the love. My whole life is painting in front of people, for other people, right? But if you really, really want to squeeze as much of the joyful life, this is literally a peony stem. Let's see how this goes. If you want to squeeze that joyful life out of, as much of it out of every painting experience that you set out to do, you've got to give up. You've got to give up the expectation. Wow, this is working way better than I thought it would. I just have a scrubby end of a peony stem, and I wet it and I added color to it. I'm grabbing water with it and I'm moving it around. You got to give up the expectation, friends. You also, really important, you've got to give up what you think other people might say. You do. In my circle, I am the wild one. I am the, what's she gonna do next? I am, yeah, all the things you could imagine. That's me. And I have become really okay with that. I'm not saying you have to be me and do all the crazy things and make all of the really outside the box art all the time. But you do have to shift your perspective a little bit if you want to have more invigorating art making experiences than less. You do. Look at this. Friends, like, I don't even know what to say. That's actually working. That's actually working. L. Bluchel says, I have an antique coffee cup filled with sticks that I picked up from places that I love to visit. It's sit next to my water jars so I can grab them quickly. I love that. That's so incredible. I'm glad I have other folks that are just as crazy as me. Lady Holman says, as kids, we used anything, sticks, a rolled up piece of paper. As adults, we become bougie. We do become bougie. We do. We become, you know, I get it. I want everything to look pretty and feel collected and feel new and feel quality, whatever that actually means. But yeah, I get it. Yeah. Grab whatever paper, grab a pen and doodle. And then the conversation came that, you know, well, we want a quality result. We want a quality result. So why would we torture ourselves, essentially? And I am very much paraphrasing a comment in this whole thread. But again, if you think you're going to sit down more often than not and create a quality piece that is like ready to hang on a wall, ready to be sold, you know, ready to be gifted to someone, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to lie to you, and I'm not going to sugarcoat it. It's a little bit delusional, and you're setting yourself up for a lot of disappointment. You are. I know the content creators like me, we make it look easy. It's one of the most common comments I get. You make it look so easy. You make it look so easy. The look that I'm getting out of the work that I'm doing primarily comes from experience. not from my supplies. So how else are you going to get there? How else are you going to get there unless you are just willing to have at it in a crazy, at times reckless, at times childish way? How else? How else? This is lovely. This leaf is still very wet, so I'm able to go into it and add some darker moments with this really dark blue and a little bit of brown. Look at that. That's really, really nice, actually. Really nice. Yeah. I love the idea that creative moments can fly away from you. And I think probably all of us that are here today have experienced that, where you almost Elizabeth Gilbert tells a story of a poet or a writer, I believe, of some kind, and that she would have these experiences again and again where she could literally feel the words coming at her. You know, she'd be out gardening, and I'm using a palette knife now. She'd be out gardening and she could feel them coming towards her, and she would have to move so quickly to quote unquote grab them and harness them. And I like that idea, whether or not you believe that literally or more figuratively. I like believing that because it's going to create an urgency in you. When that moment hits, it's going to create an urgency to follow it, to chase it. She talked about the idea of grabbing a tiger by its tail. Chase it until it's, even when it's almost out of reach, and grab it. And when you finally grab it, who knows what you're going to have at your disposal? Who knows what paint is going to be nearby? You might be in your car and all you have is a Bic and the back of a receipt, but by gosh, just grab it and do it. Because I've talked about this before. Inspiration begets inspiration. I feel that your inspiration stores, they get dried up. And the only way to fill them back up and feed them and keep them full and keep those ideas flying around in your existence is to feed them, to be active with them. Someone recommended this watercolor with a palette knife. I actually really dig it. It's super fun. Super fun. Ruby says, as a knitter, I am fulfilled by the process of knitting, but I find with painting, I get too caught up in the end product. I need to release and enjoy process in painting. And Ruby, I don't know your experience level with painting. However, that can happen when you're trying something new. Like I tried colored pencils recently with Sarah Renee Clark. I'll go ahead and link that below. It's much harder to let go with a medium that you're unfamiliar with, right? And for the most part, this is a community of a lot of beginners. So, you know, it needs to be said and acknowledged that you have a bigger hill to climb when it comes to releasing and letting go and all of that lovely stuff. It's a lot more difficult to do that when you are a beginner. Now I'm just picking up, once I get the page kind of wet with this palette knife, I'm literally just scooping up water. See, like I have a whole bunch of water on there right now. You see that right there? And then I'm just kind of dropping it on the page and moving it around. And then I'm going ahead and dropping in some strong. This is actually super cool. Really cool. And these are Crayolas, friends. That's it. That's all. And the other thing I love, look at that. You can go and actually really define beautifully. Hold the phone. Hold the phone. Look at this. Wait a cotton picking minute. Let me do something here. I've got, I picked up kind of a syrupy consistency right on the end of this palette knife. And I'm going to, oh my gosh, stop it. That is cool. Let me go into a wet area. Look at Look at the linear details you can get. Stop it. You know this is going to be a TikTok later on. Spraying it a little bit. I want to get, I like this. This is even more delicate than the liner brush effect. Look at that. Can y'all see that? I need to lower this. This needs to get lowered and straightened out. Oh, that's not straight. That's more straight. Okay. Do you see that? Do you see that? Holy moly. Holy moly. Thank you, friends. This comment section is fire. Fire. I love your conversating. You're conversating with one another. Virginia says, Christy, your enthusiasm is joyful. It's something. Thank you. Bree says, I paint fairly well with acrylic, but watercolor just is not my friend. Maybe it just intimidates me. Of course it intimidates you. Watercolor, it requires surrender. It's very bossy. It requires you to like let it control a lot of situations more so than other mediums. It wants to be the boss. It wants to work with you, but it wants to still kind of be in charge. So it can be really, really intimidating. Absolutely. This is so fun. I am just messing around with this palette knife and making some linear details into these damp areas. Oh my gosh, like I can't even. Now, am I exclaiming because this is just so beautiful and it'll be my next collection? No, but I'm exclaiming because I'm surprised at the results I'm getting. I still think I'm making some really interesting marks. It's just exciting to step outside of these norms, these watercolor norms, right? And good heavens, am I stepping outside? Look at that. Look at that. I'm just scraping. I'm glad I went with a better paper because I would not be able, of course, there's always going to be those limitations. I wouldn't be able to do the scraping if I had chosen a less quality paper. But at the same time, had I chosen a less quality paper, in fact, let's do that right now. Let's do just that. I'm going to take my notebook here. This is like literally like text weight paper, right? So let's move this. I can't wait. I got to get something in the middle here. I got to do something here. I just can't leave it like that. I've got to tell you what, I'm really enjoying the palette knife painting with watercolor. Holy guacamole, it's fun. All right, enough is enough. Super cool. Putting that away. All right, now this is the absolute most incorrect paper possible for watercolor. So, expectations. I cannot use a lot of water. I'm resetting my expectations. Can't use a lot of water. We got to get in the habit of that. Instead of just walking away from an experience, going back to the comment that we talked about early on, this comment that inspired this entire live, going back to that. Instead of walking away from this video and because maybe her paper wasn't the best, because her brushes, I think it was the brush in this case, right? What I would have loved is for her to pick one. Here's a strategy. Don't try to do the whole thing. Reset your expectation. Do one of the exercises in this video. This was my watercolor for beginners video. I'll link it below, and where we create charts of different techniques. Choose one of the techniques and give it a try with your less than perfect brush. But whatever you do, don't walk away. Squeeze whatever you can out of the experience with what you have after you've reset your expectations. Because walking away leaves you with a blank page. It does. It does. I don't know why my camera keeps doing the weird things today. It's because we're live. This is the real life. No. How does it go? Oh, is this the real life? Indeed it is, Queen. It is indeed the real life where nothing works like you want it to. There it is. There's my, all right. Oh, friends. Yeah, my phone. I got this new mount, and I will certainly be cutting this out. All right, I gotta know how in the world that came up. How did I do that? Did you see that? I did not highlight that comment. That is hysterical. But it's a good one. I love making my own palettes so much. I got a 24 set of cheapo shuttle art sets like these I made so far and put my mission golds in it. I love it. Yes. Love it. I don't know how, literally don't know how I highlighted that comment. Clearly, I do not have Kelly here today. Clearly. Okay. So I'm going to reset my expectations. Can't use a lot of water. Cannot. So I'm going to grab, let me see here. Do I have one of those crazy brushes that comes with, you know, like the Prang sets? Although I gotta say, Prang and Crayola have stepped up their game in terms of brushes. They really have. Their brushes, remember those brushes? They were like flat and they didn't come to a point. They were like blunt cut. They were the most horrific things. And yeah, just crazy. Okay, so I'm actually gonna use this little guy. Now this is a brush that comes with one of my products that I did with my publisher. It's actually a nice brush, but it's super tiny. So reset expectations, knowing what you know. Thin paper can't hold a lot of water. It's gonna buckle and it's also gonna pill. So use a small brush that physically can't hold a lot of water, right? And let's just do something simple. Let's do a pattern. Let's just commit to not letting that moment of creativity, that moment, that flash, that spark that said, I feel like painting. I know those are the words that typically pop into my head. I feel like painting. I'm tired of watching this TV show. I feel like painting. I am tired of listening to all the people in my house making all this noise. I feel like painting. Let's do it then. Let's do it. Let's get to the closest spot in our house. You know, I've talked about it. Making a magic cup, making several, and having them all around your house. It can be anything. It can be a mug, filling it with a favorite brush, a pen, little strips of paper, a little tiny skinny palette. Like literally this palette would fit in this cup, and have a couple of these around the house. This is why I tell you to make these magic cups, for accessibility. Again, because those creative moments are fleeting. They're so disappointingly fleeting that we have to reset. Our creative expression and our creative bursts aren't going to reset. You'll get more of them because, like I said, creativity begets creativity. You'll get more of them when you start honoring them. You will. You will. I don't know the science behind it. I'm not sure Elizabeth Gilbert knows the science behind it either. But I know the reality behind that. You will. But you've got to honor the ones that you're given. You've got to honor the ones that you're given. And honoring them doesn't require the good stuff. It requires your hand, your time, and your attention. That's it. That's it. If you're only getting joy from a really awesome finished result and you haven't yet figured out how to get joy from the process, I dare say you haven't quite mastered or honed the skill of curiosity. So let's talk about curiosity for a moment. One thing I've discovered as I've gotten older, I used to be an extremely self-conscious, extremely careful child and teenager. As a child, I was terrified of ruining my toys, so much so that I would not play with them. I kid you not. And I watch my own children now and I'm like, how could I have been like that at their age? My children just plow and they just get in it, right? That turned into being a extremely self-conscious teenager that didn't understand her own worth, that didn't understand it. Even though I had this artistic talent that was just pouring out of me at times, I didn't understand how to harness it. Now that can be said for any teenagers, right? But most importantly, all of that translated into becoming an adult that just didn't know how to be myself. Didn't understand how to be myself. I can't even remember why I started talking about this. Can't even remember why I started talking about this. I think I know. I think I got it back. See, those creative moments, they just fly. They just fly right out of your brain. See, I am theory in action right now. So if you're only in this, if you're only getting those really excited moments when you've finally done something that you deem worthy of your happiness, worthy of your praise, I dare to say you're not being curious enough. As an adult, before I kind of like let myself be myself finally, once and for all, I very much was in this cycle of creating, despising, going into long periods of just avoiding creating because I had created so much I had despised. And it was just this horrible, vicious cycle. Horrible, vicious cycle. And I realized somewhere along the way, and it wasn't too long ago, I'm going to be honest, friends, it was about 7 years ago, that I realized that I cared a lot. Not about what I thought. I thought it was me. I cared a lot about what other people were saying about my work. I had my work on Instagram. I had all the outlets, all the ways to show the world what I was doing. And I relied very heavily on that. So maybe you're not on Instagram. Maybe you're not waiting for that next comment. Man, this is an ugly color, friends, but I'm having fun trying to get this cool like gradient with these very dry brush strokes on this paper. Notice the paper's holding up beautifully. This is a great brush drill. I feel like my breathing has evened out from doing this. All good things. Ugly art, all good things otherwise. Ugly art, all good things otherwise. So maybe you don't have Instagram. Maybe you don't have that outlet where you're building this bad habit of wanting others to be happy with what you're doing. But maybe you're that person for yourself. You really only enjoy the experience when the outcome is awesome. And again, that goes back to curiosity and developing a habit of curiosity, developing a habit of awareness. I am known, my husband at this point in our marriage, I could be at a Lowe's or a Home Depot. It happens honestly almost every time. And he will lose me. I will go MIA. And he will find me in some random aisle. No, it's not always, you would think it'd be like the plants. Like that's easy to get inspired by. No, he's found me in the aisle that has all the different color electrical tapes. And I'm just standing there marveling at like all the cool electrical tapes. And I could create this really cool, like, you know, weaving out of electrical tapes. And this isn't about making really weird, grungy art. This is about the way that we allow ourselves to develop a creative curiosity. And it takes time. And it also, even more importantly, and even more difficultly, it takes confidence. It takes the, I don't give a flying fart what somebody thinks of me. Can't believe I just said that. I don't care what people think of me. I embarrass my husband all the time because sometimes I'm a lot, but I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Yeah. Whoo. Sorry. Laura says, I like this art. It just goes to show each person has their own perception of beauty. Exactly. Exactly, right? Virginia, thank you for being honest. Virginia says, I admit I do love seeing how many likes I get, especially in challenges. We all want approval. Amen and hallelujah. I love the earthiness of those colors. I'm glad. I'm glad. Loving the weather in good old Napa. Yeah, it's all right. No, it's awesome. It's awesome. It's just really sunny. And I love sun, but oh my gosh, I'm trying to get my plants in and it's like a dance. Linda Sims says, I love your work. Thank you, Linda. I am a newbie, but I have seen so many YouTubers I like you the best and your energy and joy. I live for the joy of life. Wonderful. Thank you for liking me the best. I appreciate that more than you know. Art is indeed subjective. Friends, I got to ask, is this resonating? Is this too all over the place for you? Are you getting, like, let me know what was a small or large aha moment? Did I say something that maybe changed the way that you're going to think about your next fleeting moment of inspiration? Let's get into comments. If you're here on Team Replay, I want to hear it too. I want to hear it too. Friends, let me see. What do I want to do next? Gosh, can I just show you how this is dried? Y'all, stick, stem, palette knife. Stick, stem, palette knife. For the love, go out and do this today. I don't even know what to say, how excited I am about this situation. I don't even know. Look at the textures. As it dried, it started to do some really coolio weirdness. I don't even understand how this happened. Right? I want to talk about the term happy accidents for a moment. This just came to me. Bob Ross, rest in creative peace, my soul brother. He coined that term. Happy accidents. I want to take it a step further. I want to evolve it a little bit. They're not accidents. They're like the joy fairies thanking you for indulging that fleeting creative moment. They're not happy accidents as much as they are a thank you from the universe. Here's your payback for indulging the crazy moment that your brain released and you indulged. Think about it that way. Think about what's waiting for you beyond, like, 30 seconds, 1 minute, a minute and 30 seconds beyond that uncomfortable moment where you sit down with the materials you wished you didn't have. You wished you had something else, but that you actually get beyond that and just paint. There is joy fairies, happy accidents waiting for you as a big, fat, beautiful thank you. Right? right? Yes. If you're having lots of happy accidents, you are giving in to those moments. You are giving in to more than not. And bravo to you. I've said, oh, these comments are coming too fast. I use a palette knife. Oh my gosh, the comments, I can't keep up. I use a palette knife and those little ruling pens for masking fluid. Love it. I've said all of my pieces since I began with Watercolor Journey, and that it's much better than I thought at the moment. I'm learning to be kinder to myself. Amen. Yes. I just got to do it. Literally painting with a water brush right now. Amen. Which I hate. I'm not a big fan either because it was the closest thing when I felt like painting. I'm going to read that again. This is the habit of a joy chaser. This is a habit of a happy accident maker. I disappeared. Literally painting with a water brush right now, which I hate because it was the closest thing when I felt like painting. Classy vegan. That is the heart, soul, and spirit of what we're talking about here. Don't let those ideas fly by. Who here has read Big Magic? Because I want to tell another story from that book. Because again, friends, that is where my crazy head is at right now. I am like torso deep in that book. Mind, body, soul, and spirit. All right. And she talks about, I'm not going to remember names because it's just not my way. But she talks about this story. She met a fellow artist, writer. And I don't know. I think I'm going to paint with this brush rest. Oh my gosh, I really lost it. I'm gonna do some like sketching. So I'm gonna dip the edge of this brush rest and I'm just gonna do some sketching on the bad printer text weight paper. So she talks about this writer that she met, and they realized, through writing letters monthly that they were like kindred spirits. My words, not hers. And they started talking about books that they had written or were in the midst of writing. And oh yeah, if you get that wet enough, that's going to work. And Elizabeth's telling her about this book that she was writing. I believe it was about a woman who worked for someone in the US, and she was kind of like low key in love with him, and that he got himself into some kind of trouble in the Amazon. So he sent her to go figure it all out. Anyway, this other author is like, Elizabeth, WTF. That's the exact book that I'm working on now. And, they're both like, how does that even happen? And one of the theories that Elizabeth presents in this book early on is that these ideas are flying around. They come to you, and if you don't do anything with them, they go back out into the universe. Like, have you ever had that idea? Like, I gotta be honest, that idea where you see something, a book, a TV show, and you're like, that's my idea. I had that idea 10 years ago. Has that ever happened to you? It's happened to me. It's happened to me right now. And, take this with a grain of salt. Like, I am no Elizabeth Gilbert, but I'm reading this book, and she is infinitely more skilled in making words jump off the page and kind of ignite your brain. But I'm thinking to myself, I've had these ideas. I could have written this book. But those ideas didn't come to me the way they came to her. And they kept moving. They kept moving, and they're evolving into something else, right? Yes. I'm painting, I'm sketching with a brush rest, and I'm actually really enjoying some of the lines I'm getting. I used too much water here, and it's getting interestingly textured. Oh, and there's marker underneath it. Let me do it on a page that actually doesn't have any marker on the back side. But yes, I'm painting with a brush rest. I literally, in honor of viewer here that was painting with the water brush because it was the closest thing. The brush rest was like right here, so I grabbed it. Anyway, I love that idea that like you are presented, the universe kind of presents you, God presents you with these ideas, and if you choose to ignore them or not serve them with the time they deserve, they're going to go on to someone else. I love that idea. Even if you only believe that figuratively, it still can function for you in a positive way and motivate you, right? It still can function for you. My husband, I think I drive him nuts. I'm not, I don't have the normal rhythms of a normal human being. I don't go to bed at 10 p.m. I don't wake up at 7 a.m. All the time. And I think it's because over the years, I have learned to follow the rhythm, not of the world, but of my inspiration. And whatever that might mean for you, it doesn't mean you have to be a night owl like me. What I'm saying in this moment is follow the inspiration and cater to it more than you don't. You don't have to cater to it all the time, but cater to it more than you don't. Right? Right? Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love it. I'm reading comments. I'm reading the comments. I have beautiful abstract art with black with a credit card. Oh, with a credit card. Do I have a, oh, you know what I have? I have the edge of a tube of gouache. You know what I'm going to do? I've actually done this a lot before. Sometimes you just don't have a brush, but you have other things. You ready for this? Oh my gosh. You can use your tubes as a way to fill. Just don't squeeze, just kind of let the paint kind of come out. You can, of course, use, ooh, hello. Oh, that's beautiful. I'm just going to do a little bit of this and then finger paint, but like with different fingers so the color doesn't get too smudgy. That's really pretty, right? And then you can also use your tube, get a little bit of color on there, and then use it to kind of draw, right? Look at that. Use it to draw. That's a little too much. Carry it on. Go down here. The other thing that happens when you start getting in a habit of, we've talked about the curiosity. Let's take a few notes here because I think this is important. And then I want to let this dry and do something else with it. Habits we want to build. We want like a lifestyle of curiosity, right? What else did we talk about? We talked about kind of a spontaneity. Spontaneity. I don't know if I spelled that right, right? What else did we talk about? Call it out. Call it out. Bubble wrap makes cool marks. Yes. What else did we talk about? My son, why do you have to be like this? Why do you have to be like this at Christy? Oh, jeez. What else did we talk about? We talked about a lifestyle of curiosity, spontaneity in the sense that we're not going to let those creative moments pass us by because we don't have the right supplies, right? And we talked about kind of what's the reward for that, right? But I think we have to recognize the rewards, and the rewards are happy accidents. The rewards are just getting in the joy zone, even if we're creating ugly. So, habits we want to build, a lifestyle of curiosity, just looking around more, right? Looking around more and seeing what sparks our interest, right? Looking around more. Spontaneity. That goes with the lifestyle of curiosity, but it also goes with just being okay to use the stuff that wasn't made to do the thing you feel like doing, but do it any flipping way, right? And then the last habit I think that we really need to focus on is recognizing the rewards of doing all that, the happy accidents, just getting into the joy zone, even though we're creating something that we deem to be unshowable, ugly, laughable, right? Right? Get in a habit. I'm going to add a fourth one over here. Get in a habit of recognizing increasingly smaller moments of beauty. Small moments of beauty. And that, my friends, is going to tie right back to this lifestyle of curiosity. Can you follow that? Can you follow that? I hope you can. I hope you can. Because I think there's something there. I think there's something there. I always wanted to fit into, depending on the part of my life that I was in, I wanted to be the cool 20-something and going out and partying and doing all the things. That left me less time to be curious because I was so worried about the right clothes. I was so worried about, the right place, the right friends. Then I wanted to be the perfect mom and be all to my children and dealing with all that mom guilt. And the dads deal with the dad guilt of, am I enough? Am I present enough? And curating these perfect experiences with our children. But then I had to start getting over that too. I'm not fully over it. There's so much junk that gets in the way of your lifestyle of curiosity, right? Ooh, y'all, we got to go back to expectation. 5. We've got to get in the habit of resetting expectations based on our situation, our supplies, what we have at hand. And I really feel like these little leaves need some cool. I probably just ruined this flare pen because I'm getting it all in the acrylic, but it's okay. I'm just going to wipe it off and see what happens. Right? Right. I just took my white Posca pen to loosely outline my first flower, and I love it now. Boom. Life is too short to live with all that guilt. It is, Josie. Thank you. Virginia, my kids are in their 30s. I still worry, right? That's the thing. My husband always tells me, he's like, honey, if you're worrying, it means you're doing a good job. That's kind of like our check-in with each other. So I have learned that I am always enough. Thank you, Linda. Yes. Deb Scott, you were amazing. I have to run, but we'll rewatch and savor later. Thank you, Deb. I hope you do rewatch. Yes. I love it. Number 4 is my favorite, says Virginia. Number 4 is increasingly, we need to build the habit of recognizingly increasingly smaller. Actually need to add the ER to that. Y'all, would you like a download of this? I feel like, I'm going to make a download of this. If you're watching this on the replay, I am going to, literally right after this live, it's going to be in the description. Go check there now if you're on replay. And I'm going to tidy this up, and I'm going to make this a download so you can get this up in front of you where you need to see it, so you can be reminded of the habits that we need to build to foster a lifestyle of curiosity. Because a lifestyle of curiosity is going to ensure that you care less about, hold on, I am a visual note taker. A lifestyle of curiosity, right? Boom, is going to ensure that you grab more fleeting moments of inspiration, right? Which is going to make sure you have more happy accidents. A lifestyle of curiosity is going to reduce your care for being judged. It is. It is. I promise you. If you are able to lose yourself in a beautiful moment of whatever has sparked your interest in a moment, it's because you're truly there. You're truly living. You're truly feeling. You're truly engaged with the world around you. And you have very little time in that context to care about what other people say. Very little time, right? All right, a lifestyle of curiosity. You're going to grab more fleeting inspiration moments. You're going to reduce your care for being judged. A lifetime of curiosity. What else? Ooh, time will slow down. It will. There's my husband and I just watched the Eclipse, the vampire movie, Breaking Dawn, all those. And there's so many, the cinematography in those movies, there's so many scenes where it's like there's petals of flowers floating across the screen, and they're sitting in a field of purple blooms, and everything is slow, but it almost doesn't look like it's in slow-mo. And when I am in my most beautiful moments of curiosity, whether I'm just viewing something, whether I'm on a walk and just breathing in the air, whether I'm sitting and painting and in my joy zone, that's what it feels like. Time slows down, not to the point that you're groggy or tired or lethargic. No, you just feel like time, instead of just blazing through your day, that time is doing what it's supposed to do. Time feels calm and comfortable and sparkly, right? Oh, yes. Yes. Gosh, I'm sorry. I feel I'm getting so poetic today. I hope that, friends, is this helpful? Is this too much for you? Is it helpful? Let me know. Let me know. I want to hear your honest thoughts. I want to hear your honest thoughts. Okay. So if we can reduce our care for being judged, the creative floodgates open. Right? Boom. Right? Time will slow down. And when time slows down, friends, guess what happens? When time slows down, you notice more of the fleeting inspirational moments. You do. You do. You do. You do. Isn't that great? Isn't that great? Got a little bit of circle of life happening here, right? I'm feeling very like Mufasa. Just call me Mufasa. You're a philosopher. I'm something. I'm loving all of it. Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Josie. Virginia, helpful and never too much. Yes, I paint the kitchen table while I cook. Oh my gosh, Angela, been there. I burnt so much food. Okay, this is dry. I'm going to go over this. All right. Lifestyle. Like I said, friends, I'm going to make this available to you for whatever you might want to do with it. Because I think we're tapping into some cool stuff here today. I really do. I really do. And gosh, you know, I'm looking at this like crazy flow chart, and it feels like it's kind of ended with time will slow down. And isn't that what we actually really want? Isn't that the goal of a creative journey? Maybe that is why. Isn't that why? I mean, tell me in comments, why did you start painting? Why? Please get into comments. Let me know why you started painting, because I have a feeling it probably is somewhere in the realm of I wanted peace. I needed to breathe. I needed to get through trauma. I needed to cope. And all of that is about slowing down the chaos, slowing down the heartache, slowing down the momentum, the just inertia. And my husband always tells me I use the word inertia incorrectly, but I think you know what I mean, right? It's all about slowing time down. Ooh, friends, we are workshopping this situation. We are workshopping, and it feels good. It feels good. It's liberating, right? Look at that. Look at that. Whoo. Say it again. Say it again. I love this. Says Anna Carton. I hope I pronounced that right. What if you block that you can't even start? What if you're so blocked that you can't even start a painting? Okay, then I say don't start a painting, Tanya. Listen to me. Let me grab some paper. I'm just gonna, Tanya, do you have something like this that you've started? I don't care how old it is. I want you to pull it out, Tanya. I want you to pull it out. Okay. And I want you to literally like take some time to find something like this. It's dry. It's just splotches. Maybe it's flowers. Maybe it's a ruined painting, whatever that means. And I want you to find it. All right. And then I want you to do something on top of it very simply. Very simply. I'm going to go back to the stem. You can use a brush. Like, I don't care. You don't have to get crazy. Excuse me. All right. And I want you to just make marks. Mark making is so underrated in this world of tutorials, intensives, how-tos, step-by-steps. Mark making becomes a layer, a necessary step in a painting, right? Mark making is the literal foundation of everything that we do as artists. And I find that when I'm stuck, and friends, I can speak from the stuck experience. I have gone 4 months without painting, literally without picking up a brush, pencil, pen. I've been there. It's not fun, but it will end. The best way to unstuck yourself is mark making. Flow of a stream of consciousness, if you will. Don't think, literally. Grab paper, grab utensil, grab medium, and hit it. Hit it quick and hard and messy, and hit it until you look up and you don't know how long you've been mark making. Let it be a meditation. All right? Let it be a meditation. Let it be repetitive, because repetitive sometimes in mark making is extremely easy. It's not going to be pretty. And if it is, bonus. There are countless reasons that you could be blocked. Usually has something to do with expectation. expectation of a result, expectation of a judgment, expectation that you're gonna screw it up this time again for sure, expectation that someone else needs you somewhere and that you're making a really bad decision by thinking you have time to paint, expectation that you're not doing enough at work, you're not doing enough as a caretaker, that you're not doing enough work outside in the garden because you need to supplement the bills because the grocery store is going to break your mind open. Like, I'm not speaking to you specifically, Tanya, but I am just literally stream of consciousness some of the example chaos that's going on in our world right now. But you gotta get here. You gotta give yourself these moments. They don't have to be long. This feels good. Scrubbing. Being aggressive. Try to break the paper. My table is shaking. Gosh, that feels good. Even looks interesting. I'm gonna see. Scrape some. Oh, look at that. Look at that. Talk to yourself, Tanya. Talk to yourself while you're doing it. Call out the ugly, call out the beautiful. Remember, we're looking for small moments of beautiful. Grab an acrylic because I'm going to see what happens here. I want to see what happens here. Oof, that's something. Look at you. Look at you. Tanya, does that help? I had to pull myself out of that because that could have gone. I could have gone on for a while. Gina, we are leaving beauty that will last decades, maybe even centuries. That's right. Sometimes my moments are 10 minutes before I go to bed, just to have a brush in my hand and color on paper. Yes. Tanya, I'll say this. When your block, your creative block feels aggressive, get aggressive back. I cannot tell you how good beating up that paper just felt. And I wasn't expecting it. I really wasn't. I don't know why it felt good. Now I'm a little concerned. What's going on in my brain? Like, but it, gosh, it felt good. Now, if you're gonna like go after and try this, just set the expectation you probably do need to use a heavier paper. Unless you're okay with, you know, getting holes in the paper, which could be cool too. So just something to note. But yeah, mark making. Let's get back to mark making, y'all. It is underrated and it is underperformed. Underperformed. Vanessa, feeling of not doing or being enough is why I'm in love with art. It's just freedom and joy, and I'm glad you found it there. Letting go of control is hard for me. Tanya, another thing that you can do is, and it seems counterintuitive with this whole like letting go, but set a timer and just commit to letting go for a minute. That can feel less scary. And then the next time, set the timer for a minute, 20 seconds. And then the next time, set it for 2 minutes. And you know, it's crazy that we have to put structure into an experience that is meant to give us peace and freedom in order to squeeze as much peace and freedom out of it. But we have to build habits, which are what? Structure. We have to. Y'all. Woo! That feel good. Yeah, I do. I do. I'm singing. I'm singing. Do y'all feel good? Replay, team replay. Do you feel good? Because I do. I do. I do. I do. And see what happens here. Like right now, I'm looking at this, and this is what I talk about when like inspiration begets inspiration. Right now, I'm feeling it. I'm moving and grooving. And now I wish I had a highlighter. I wish it was at arm's length, but I'm going to ignore it because it's not. But this is what happens when you force yourself to sit down with that inspiration, with the spark. Sit with the spark. Sit. I got to write that. I got to write that. Sit with the spark. Sit. That's an I. Wow. The spark. See, creative brain and the other part of the brain don't like to play sometimes. I want you to sit with the spark and be uncomfortable and then run. Run with it. The spark enough. The spark, that little trinkling in your brain where you're like, oh, I want to paint, isn't enough to get you to paint. Know that. It's not enough always. You gotta sit. You gotta grab. You've got to kind of just dig in. Grab your supply, whatever's nearest. Put those blinders on, all the distractions. Sit with the spark. Oh my gosh. Virginia says, sit with the spark. Would that include flying farts? I do believe indeed it would. Yes. The paper becomes the biggest wall ever. Yeah. Kathy, if the paper is the wall, my guess is that, is it because you don't want to waste the paper? Until I see a response, I'm going to go with that assumption. Then stop painting on paper. Paint on, grab yourself a thing of 50 lunch bags, brown paper lunch bags. Paint on that. Draw on that. Find something that you feel is inconsequential. Draw and paint on that. Okay? Seriously. Let me find something that I feel is inconsequential and odd. Do I have anything in my, yeah, okay. We're going to do this. This is actually going to happen. Oh my gosh. This is happening. Mm-hmm. Anybody know what this is? It's paper towel. It is a paper towel that has been on my painting table underneath my painter's pot for probably 3 months, and it's gotten very condensed, full of mixed media mess. And I grabbed it because it was close by. And I'm just going to sketch on it. Putting holes in it along the way just from the light touch of my pen, but I don't care. Because actually what's starting to happen here is pretty. I'm getting loosened up. I certainly am not afraid of ruining this because it's garbage. But what if you turned this garbage into something? How would that feel? There's that feeling you get when you go to a yard sale and you find something really affordable that you know is worth 10 times its cost. Or you find, like, I constantly have these orphans in my milk glass collection where I have the bottom but I don't have the lid. And when I finally find the lid, that matching piece where my compo is no longer an orphan, that feeling that you have turned trash, mismatched, um, just unregarded into something gorgeous feels nothing short of magical. Wouldn't you want to have that feeling, even if the artwork could never be sold, displayed? Wouldn't you want it? I would. I'm going to go in some white acrylic. Just get some out here. And a number 6 round, just so I can get a little more control. Wouldn't you want that feeling? I want the results just like everybody else. I want the results. I'm not sitting here telling you that I don't want a finished piece of artwork, like, because as a matter of fact, I created those oranges recently. I'll link the video below with the oranges and the figs that have been getting, so much attention on TikTok and different places. I love it. I love that I created a finished piece that is being adored. I love that. That feels good. But so does this. And I will tell you, it feels just as good. But you have to build that habit in order to equate those two very different types of results. You have to build the habit. And that all goes back to this, your lifestyle of curiosity. Without that, the finished piece that could be sold and admired and adored will never equate creating junk art on a dirty paper towel if you do not practice a lifestyle of curiosity. If you don't relish in the small, beautiful moments. If you aren't constantly resetting your expectations when you sit down to indulge that spark of creativity that is fleeting, that is going to fly right over your head unless you reach up and grab it quickly. I'm going to pop in some, crud. I just broke my own rule and forgot that I'm not painting with gouache and stuck a little bit of that acrylic in my watercolor mixing tray. Problem solved. Got that out of there. Just a little bit of watercolor from my set. That's pretty. Oh, that's nice. How are we feeling? Was this helping? Do you feel like this was time well spent today, friends? Are you going to take something away? What are you going to paint next? I want to hear all of it. Head into comments. What are you going to try next? What's sitting on your desk right now? Did you feel a spark of inspiration this morning that you didn't follow? Do you think it might still be there? Are you going to go after it today? If not today, when? What can you do right now to maybe preserve some of that spark before it flies away? Maybe you can write it down. I use my notes app all the time for those sparks that pop into my brain that I don't have a lot of time to spend with. I'll make little notes in my notes app. And again, that goes back to this lifestyle of creativity. You start to do weird things that serve your creative life, that serve your curiosity. Look at that. That's actually so pretty. And here's the thing. here's how this all evolves. Because you might be like, Christy, well, I want to make art that people might want to buy. I might want to turn this into a business. I might want to gift a piece to someone, and I don't want to frame a dirty paper towel. This momentum that you build from all of these habits that are seemingly inconsequential to making real art, they're going to give you the momentum. Here's how. I'm in love with this. I want to recreate it on arches. And I'm gonna. Gina says, I'm painting small landscapes with my Mission Gold and Artisto watercolors. Nice. Taping it into sections. I see a way to revive failed paintings and lessen the feeling that I've wasted precious paper. Amen. I've got videos about that. Yep. My first day of vacation spent getting ideas, motivation, and amazing watercolor inspiration. Wonderful. Hushabe says, I use my notes app to draw while I'm working. Freaking love it. Cindy says it's good to relax with no expectations. Pamela's painting an iris. Donna currently painting on an abstract of shapes and color washes. Fantastic. Penny says, I love your style, Christy. I recently purchased your watercolor book and brushes. Looking forward to painting again. Thank you, Penny. By the way, Penny, that is my favorite name on the planet. It's a family name. I wanted to name our daughter Penny, but it got vetoed because there's too many Pennies in our family, but it's just a lovely, delightful name. So, yay. So happy to have caught you live today. Thank you, Josie. Beach in Hawaii from a pic my parents sent. Awesome, Miriam. My sister makes junk journals. I cut up my messed art into the better pieces. Love it. I have a video about cutting up art. Never throw away your junk art again. Yes. My brush is split. Let me make sure. Does anyone know why my brush is... Miriam, your brushes from me split. If that happens every so often, I think in the last, however long we've been making brushes, it's happened about 10 times. Folks have reached out to us. It's just a manufacturing defect. Reach out to us at hello@christyrice.com and we will replace them. Just make sure that you are not leaving your brushes. I'm sure you're not, but I always mention this. Don't leave your brushes in the water for any long period of time. And also don't store the wet brushes with the bristles up as that water could go back down into the ferrule, and that can cause cracking. But no worries. Let us know and we will replace. Tanya, very inspiring. Glad it was. Wonderful, wonderful. All right. Friends, today was a joy and a pleasure and a privilege. As I promised, I'm going to get all of these somehow into some type of printable that you can use as you see fit to keep you inspired and remind you of all of the crazy we discussed today. Crazy that I hope will propel you and encourage you to build these habits of a lifestyle of curiosity. That's what I want for you. That is what I want for you. Indeed. Indeed. It's a good day. It's a good day. Friends, thank you for being here. Another video is going to pop up here soon. If you're watching on replay, it's a good one. You're going to want to check it out. Friends, I can't say enough. I feel like this moment, this hour and a half, is a shift for some of us. You'll remember this moment. Yeah. I can't wait to see what you do. All the happy painting friends. Have a amazing day and go out and just grab those tigers by the tail. Pull them down and sit with the spark that you've just grabbed, just barely. Sit with it and then fly with it. All right, friends, until next time, happy painting.